stage of WCS America that perhaps he shouldn't have dropped. Nobody thought he would, but I really like to think that he's a lot more solid against that kind of stuff right now.
And we're talking about this man that's up left from North America, representing Ting. It is Neeb.
Like I said, one of the WCS Challenger winners over here, a man that started in Group Stage 1 today, hailing from Ukraine. It is Bly.
And he's got that hometown advantage. It's so sick to me how when a player plays in their home country, they just seem to put in that little bit extra. Like I remember Zashigwa doing really well in Shanghai in an incredibly stacked bracket. Like you would see all the Koreans in the tournament and just be like, no way does a Chinese player get through this far. But Bly is very deliberately avoiding the middle of the map here with that drone. That is not the shortest path. So he's going potentially something a little bit cheeky here, maybe a proxy hatchery.
Yeah, drone scouts are already not very common, of course. And Bly is selling this well because he's still expanding on his side of the map, too. Man, this is going to get so weird. This is so Bly, man. I'm already getting a little bit excited. Why not? Why not make it a little bit weird? We, of course, just saw a PVZ here on the mainstream. Unfortunately for Snoot, that didn't really go that well. Is he just going for the hatch block? Okay, so it's not a proxy hatch. He's just going to block it. And I'm very curious about the response of Neeb. Is he going to pull probes? If the answer is yes, how many? Is it going to be 6, 7, something along those lines? Okay, we already see probes like going
6.
down. That looks like 6 on the minimap?
Yeah.
Maynard, how do you even see those things? Oh, you saw it selected.
Mate, I had, I want to look like a god right here, but I'm going to be honest. I have my own PC logged into the game, so I can count it myself.
I just thought you looked at the minimap and you're like, that looks like 6. I'm like, damn, Maynard, what a call.
What I did is I closed my eyes, I tied a red headband on, and I just touched my temples, and I felt the 6 probes. I sensed that chi.
It's going to follow it up with the evolution chamber as
very annoying.
well. Yep, indeed. This is the kind of stuff that is very annoying, but there is a downside to all of this. Like, I'm not saying this is never worth it, because obviously Bly is on the map, and he probably thinks this is worth it. But there is a downside, and that is in general that your defenses at home are going to be a little bit weaker and a little bit later. And if Bly, I love that Bly tried to steal the gas here, tried to morph this drone into an extractor, but Neeb said nope, kept the probe in hold position. Adepts can become very annoying. Of course you could say that this is year 0 though, so even if these adepts show up way before link speed is done, it still takes a very long time for adepts to make their way to the other side of the map, as this is pretty much the biggest map in the map at the moment.
I think that's probably the reason why that strategy is so powerful, for the reasons that you mentioned. Like the follow-up adept harassment that normally is so deadly to a Zerg just has that little bit extra longer to get across the map, even with that warp gate buff and all that sort of stuff to worry about. So it does still take a while, and we can actually see that there are going to be units up for Bly on the other side of the map. This adept may get some drone kills, but it won't be for free.
And of course, the real power of builds like this as well is that sometimes your opponent will start messing up a little bit. A pylon or 2 could be very late because, you know, your build is just a little bit thrown off, right? You don't have the smooth build order that you've practiced over and over again because you were forced to pull those 6 probes early on. Bly is going to make quite a few Zerglings here. That depth is still being annoying. Actually quite successful. One drone went down, almost got the second one, but indeed a very good save there in the end.
Yeah, a couple drones going down. Is a little bit annoying. These adepts are still alive, and in true Neeb fashion, Stargates gets dropped, and he just continuously is pumping out 1 adept at a time here from this gateway. And adepts and Stargates together, it's just pure Neeb to me.
I mean, link speed is late because of the opening that Bly went for, and that's why these adepts are just more annoying. I love how he shaded forward, forcing the links to go into the main base. Then he's like, no, I'll turn it around. But at the same time, the adepts did make their way into the natural. So now Bly is the one actually losing a little bit of that mining time. Some good plays by Neeb without really overcommitting. This time he does let the shade finish. Tiny bit surprised by it, even though link speed is not done. But it is paying off already. And don't forget that the Stargate is already done on the other side of the map.
And Neeb, rather Bly, tried to wall in that adept there to stop it from escaping by making an Evo chamber and cancelling it. But the adept actually had room to breathe there and escapes, but only with 1 hit point to tell the tale of the dream. So we are seeing Resonating Glaives getting dropped here, and also Phoenix is falling up from those Stargates. So good old adept Phoenix, man.
I actually would have
kind of showing itself again.
Actually would have liked to see an Oracle here by Neeb, considering how much he's been doing with those adepts on the other side of the map. It's very unlikely that Bly was very eager already to drop 3 Spore Callers, because he barely has any drones to begin with, right? He's been losing some mining time, losing some additional drones, that I actually think Oracles would have been very successful. And it is going to be an Oracle, but after the first Phoenix.
Yeah, these Phoenixes exist, obviously, to get rid of Overlords, to make things a little bit easier for him. If Bly did want to go for Nidus, getting rid of these Overlords is your first step to defending that kind of thing. At the moment, Bly is just basically sitting back, and Macquarie's getting a lot of drones up, still producing Queens. What up, Space Satans? Good to see you still. And there's that lair finally getting dropped for Bly.
What I would have loved to see from Neeb, and I don't know if that would have been possible, but imagine if you would have been able to squeeze a probe to the other side of the map. You get a pylon up, you get a gateway up there. At this point, there is absolutely nothing on the side of Bly that can deal with adepts with resonating glaives. He doesn't have a Roach Warren, he doesn't have Baneling Nest. Sure, Lings and Queen together could be enough, man. Bly's going to be in a little bit of trouble, Maynard.
Yeah,
yes, he's making more Lings, but he needs to get all of his Queens in one place. But Neeb is a really, really good Protoss, and he's probably going to find a spot where those Queens are not at. Oh my goodness, I think Bly's going to lose a lot of drones.
I'm with you there, man. This Oracle in tandem with these Adepts, and I mean, this isn't even all in from Neeb.
Nope.
That's a lot of Queens, so they're certainly going to help out. They don't have transfusions, but these Adepts are going to bounce back like a tennis match from main to natural, and they are not afraid of these Lings.
Nope.
They finish that shade of that natural, and they are target firing drones, and then they can turn their attention to these Lings and just keep doing damage. 10 drones already dead here in Bly's natural.
Already a very successful attack. If you look at the work count, Neeb is up 15. He's going to get a few more over here in the main base. Just doing a really good job, like I said, in avoiding those Queens. Bly made a guess, hoping that Neeb would cancel that shade, and Neeb is like, nah, I saw your Queens are still out here. They're trying to protect the third base as well. And at the same time, more Adepts show up. There is a Nidus network going up during all of this, but Neeb is doing a tremendous amount of economic damage.
And how does Bly get this Nidus anywhere critical either? He's lost all of his overlords around Neeb's infrastructure. Like, they're all gone. Maybe you can send a Ling in through the natural, I guess, and do one aggressively that way. But with all this drone damage, whatever Bly does has to work. Otherwise, this game will end.
And it's going to be very underwhelming. You look at the army supply, it's only 20. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a couple Queens, but there will be Zealots out, there will be Immortals out, there are still Adepts with Resonating Glaives. And actually, if he would have just warped in nothing but Adepts here, even that would be pretty good, because they can just take care of the Zerglings, and Queens by itself, without any sort of backup, are really not that powerful anymore. I mean, Bly is trying to do what he feels is right, but I think he knows as well that he is in a world of trouble.
Yeah, this Nidus might not even see the light of day here. These Immortals coming forward, and they're just going to gut it down. Down it goes, and I mean, Bly's going to keep trying to make it work, but the Oracle's keeping tabs on it. These Lings are looking for any damage, but they're finding 0 right now.
Overseer is going into the main base, so maybe that is where he can get one Nidus up.
And that is shift queuing it.
Yeah. And there we go. I mean, it's going to take a little while, and I think that Bly also knows that it's looking very, very dire. But hey, maybe those Lings can find a middle line. Maybe they can find an Immortal by itself, surround it, and that is kind of what Bly is hoping for now. He knows that it's technically up to Neeb here. If Neeb makes no mistakes, Neeb is going to defend this. Well, Neeb perhaps not respecting this Nidus in the main base. And this is it, Bly. If it's ever going to work, this is the way it's going to work.
And here we go. Bly is all in, guys. He's using some Lings to attack these probes to the third base, but there are shield batteries keeping them alive. The main story is here in the main base. Can Neeb hold on against this big all-in from Bly? Those units from the natural is actually a pretty scary army. We got another Nidus worm coming forward. Nice little force fields there from Neeb. You cut off kind of that army there. As the Queens continue to do a bit of damage in the main base, don't forget that Neeb can afford to lose a bunch of probes right here because of how far ahead he is. He's got that third Nexus. He's got plenty of probe production, and he's got double Immortal production as well. And these units spell the end for Bly.
Yeah, it's just Queens at this point, right? 1 or 2 Ravagers, but then it's just Queens, and that is just not going to be enough against all these tanky Immortals. Good force fields there.
You don't get to leave.
No, you're not going home. You invited yourself into my party. Now you're going to stay till the bitter end, okay?
That's right. Staying till last drinks, lady. These Queens are just trying to do whatever they can, but honestly, this is just Bly trying to make her pull a rabbit out of a hat here, and magic doesn't exist. This is sci-fi. This is science.
We know that Bly likes to stay in games a little bit longer as well, kind of the European fantasy in that regard. Does not give up quickly, will always try to find a way back into the game. And I must say, I've seen him pull off some miraculous comebacks, but those were often against lesser players than a Neeb.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are Protosses out there that would lose to Bly at this point, but Neeb certainly not one of them. He's just holding on, and Bly is still clutching at straws, trying to make something happen. And it's just going to be up to Neeb to eventually make this kid tap out.
I love it. Now Bly goes back into droning. He's like, I guess it's really not going to work, right? Well, how bad is it? It's pretty damn bad, Bly. But if he gets a few more probes here, maybe that can give him some confidence and a tiny bit of hope. Ends up losing a Queen instead. And of course, like, it comes down to when does Neeb attack, right? Like, when does Neeb make maybe a Warp Prism? He's got 2 Robots, so you would technically say a Prism and an Observer would be a pretty good call at this point. And then Neeb can technically just march to the other side of the map. Bly's plan is the Spire, and I guess you could say if there's one way he's ever going to win.
I don't hate it.
No, exactly right. Like, out of all the terrible choices that he currently has, because, yeah, he's just in a really bad spot. There's no other way to put it. This probably is the best one. If you can get a couple of Mutas out against 8 Immortals, Yeah, miracles do exist, but don't forget there is a Stargate already, and there is a Templar Archives as well, so Neeb could make a couple of Archons.
And Neeb even starts a second Stargate here, which is, oh, this could be a nice Contaminate. It's going to delay +2 a little bit, but will it matter? That's hard to say. I don't think so. We got an extra. It's going to go up to 3 Stargates in a second here. So even if he spots the mutas in the middle of the map, he can make Phoenixes so quickly.
Yeah, he just knows. Neeb just knows. This is not his first rodeo against Bly. He's going to wipe in a couple of units at home to shut down these additional Nidus networks. But even if the mutas would pop right now, right? Do you know how long it would take for all of these mutas to clean up this army?
Yeah, these Immortals are full on hit points, guys. Just because you can't see their hit points, that just means that they're full of hit points and they all got hardened shield and they are ready to handle some mutas for a while.
Even if these 11 mutas do pop, the Spire is almost done. I think Bly's going to lose at least 2 out of 3 bases, if not all 3 of them. Neeb is going to split up his army a little bit as well. And he's already making Phoenix. Bly truly pulling a fantasy here. But hey, I understand it. He's playing on home soil. He wants to make a deep run here. This obviously would mean a lot to him to be a star here at WCS Spring that's being played in Kiev. But I think that this game, Bly, this one is all over.
If this was an online tournament, of course, Bly would probably have tapped out a while ago. But this is WCS Spring, man. You've got to fight every single inch, every single mile. You cannot just sit there and hope for the best. You just got to make it work. So Bly sticks in, gets a map lost to Neeb, but it's hard to look good when the start of the game goes a little bit that badly like that against Neeb. You know, it was kind of a damned if he does and damned if he doesn't situation, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do in that situation when you've lost so many drones and you're going for a Nidus that gets scouted?
It's the first 2 adepts that were already quite successful for Neeb, and he was able to keep one of them alive as well, did quite a bit of damage with it. But then the follow-up attack with Resonating Glaives, Bly was not ready for it at all. And I think he just kind of hoped that Neeb would have made a Shade on top of Zerglings and Queens, because then there is a chance that Bly does have the units to defend, well, maybe only losing a couple of drones. And then I actually think that his Nidus would have been a lot more powerful. But Neeb being Neeb, we trust him on having a good judgment there and making the right calls when it comes to letting Shades finish and cancelling them. And those adepts, they really kind of sealed the deal.
They certainly did. Like, kind of mentioned it during the cast, it was just like, normally what Bly did, like attacking to the 3rd base and that sort of thing, wouldn't have been an all-in. But it wasn't that particular case because he had a 30 worker deficit. It's like, not where you come back from, at least not easily. So it looks like King's Cove is our next map here.
I think it's worth mentioning, perhaps, that this is, of course, Group Stage 3 already. This is one of the opening matches of Group Stage 3, but the other opening match has already been played, and it had your New Zealand champion, Risky.
That's right.
That's in this group as well. He went up against DNS, but DNS so far looking very, very good in this WCS Spring, as DNS has already taken that series 2-0 as well.
These French Protosses are looking really good this tournament, man. Drogo's showing up and doing great as well. It's exciting times seeing these guys do well again.
Yep. DNS is funny as well, right? Because sometimes he has these WCS tournaments where he just crushes Group Stage 1, crushes Group Stage 2, crushes Group Stage 3, and then you're like, man, I'm so excited to see DNS in the bracket. And then it gets Hero Marine and he loses 3-0 in like 27 minutes. And you're like, what happened to the DNS from the group stage, right? But obviously we're not there yet, but so far I can only echo your sentiments. The French Protosses are indeed looking very strong.
This start from Bly, though. Let's introduce this guy in the top left first. From North America representing Ting, guys, this is Neeb. Your American challenger, Victor. And the bottom rights, he started a drone, then he canceled it, and then he started a spawning pool. This is Bly.
A 12 pool. Now, of course, there are so many follow-ups of the 12 pool, right? Like, 12 pool by definition is not an all-in because you will always force out a reaction. You should be able to get at least a little bit of damage done. Now, of course, the dream is that you do a lot of damage. And it would be very nice if Neeb decides not to scout. Nice, of course, for Bly, that is. Because then Neeb is probably going to panic a little bit when suddenly Zerglings show up way before he ever expects the Zerglings to show up. Bly is the kind of Zerg, by the way, that is capable of also pulling his drones with this.
Yes, he's one of those guys, for sure. This is, like Roddy mentioned, because he's not getting gas with this, you can expand. He's doing that right now. And these lings that he's making right now, it's 8 lings, so not just the 6. This is something we see in ZVZ a bit, actually. Like, you put pressure on with the gasless expand, and then just go into a macro gain out of that. But if you make, like, 8 lings, you depower this wall, and you can keep that pressure on, still research speed behind this.
This could be a very, very short one. There's no extractor on the way yet. I think he's going up to 12 Zerglings. Is that correct? Because he already
definitely 10.
Okay, definitely 10 it is. Well, Neeb is
It's
still
12.
not scouted yet. Neeb is sending his probe to the other side of the map right now, but look at how Bly is sending his Zerglings to the other side of the map, guys. This is awesome. Couple on the right side, couple on the left side. This probe has still absolutely no idea. There is no Zealot on the way. Neeb is going to have to probably build a second pylon and immediately chrono boost the Zealot, and he pull a lot of probes. Oh my goodness.
Still no Zealot. He hasn't seen it until just now. There's those probes coming in from the main base.
He needs a second pylon.
He's still trying to wait for that Adept. Oh, the pylon's going to depower. He starts that second pylon there, but obviously no units will be made here for Neeb for a while until that pylon is done, and Bly's already working on it with those extra lings.
That is very smart, and like the surface area that he's trying to get here as well. Gotta be careful.
Nice probe drill. Nice probe drill.
Yeah, it was good in the beginning, then Bly getting a little overeager, but like you said, he's already working on the second pylon, and Neeb is gonna have such a hard time. And I think at this point, Bly is so sad, he's like, I didn't have to build more links. I should always build more links. Should have pulled the drones as well, would have already won this game.
Why did I
drone?
But
it's still looking very, very good here for our Ukrainian Zerg.
Yeah, strong start. Neeb obviously under a lot of pressure here. And that pylon is surrounded by lings again. Like, the probes are trying to do their damage, and every time they come forward, the lings turn and fight. And yes, the Adept just gets started, but Neeb is going to lose a few more drones here. A few more probes, rather.
And with a few, we mean almost all of them.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's 11 probes going down already. Bly right now doubling the work count of Neeb. GG! Bly!
You said it would be a fast one. You weren't lying. There it was. So, yeah, we got ourselves a serious one apiece. Bly, and that wasn't all in. Yes, he sent 12 lings across the map. That's very, very committed. But he was droning back at home. He had an expansion. He was just, he definitely had to do a ton of damage. Like, he had to do damage.
Maynard, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
And this may be a little bit hard
I may have an answer.
This may be a little bit hard for you to imagine, right? But imagine a world where you are Neeb's coach. And Neeb is going to be like, hey, coach, I'm going to go, gate, fast expand, super late scout versus Bly on King's Cove. What would you tell to him as his coach?
I would say I would probably maybe probe scout.
Probably scout a little bit earlier.
Maybe probe scout. I mean, I'd be like, look, Alex, because I'm his coach and I talk to him by his first name. I'm like, mate, I'm not as good as you, but this is Bly. And I have been seeing his games for a while, and he's a little unpredictable, he's a little weird. Maybe check out what he's doing.
And you could also say you are probably the favorite in the longer games, and does it really hurt you that much to send that probe to the other side of the map a little bit earlier? Like if Neeb would be going up against Dark here, even though Dark actually chooses quite a bit against foreigners. Maybe a better example there, guys. But let's say a Rogue or a Sue, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to scout a little bit later. I'll be like, yeah, you can probably get away with that. Against Bly, I would say like, no, you are favored enough here that you really don't need to cut any corners in this phase in the game. And once again, you're playing against a man with quite the reputation for early game aggression. You probably want to probe scout a little faster, Neeb.
Yeah, I mean, this is the guy that you want to check it out against. But seeing that Bly is, he's a very emotional player. It's part of the reason why I love him so much. I love players like, Bly, Creator, Harston. Those guys get really into it when they win. Always makes me feel excited when they win and feel for them when they lose as well. So let's get into it, guys. Third game of the series. The top right here. Sending that probe out to that natural. It is Ting's Neeb.
I have a hard time believing this probe is not going to go to the other side of the map immediately.
He's going back to the main.
Maybe after gate then, right?
Maybe
but in the previous game, it was so late. In the left bottom side, looking the main base of our Ukrainian Zerg. And he's not done yet with the shenanigans. It is Bly. What is this?
Yeah.
Proxy hatch this time, right? I
think he's going to two drones like this.
Yeah, maybe pretend like he's blocking and then also proxy hatching at the same time. 200 IQ on the water, 4-dimensional chess, Starcraft.
In the middle of space in a crystal cave. So this is the craziest stuff. All right, so the drone comes out, and Neeb's probably, that drone scout's a little weird, but 2 drones is absolutely not kosher. And there's that proxy hatch.
Yeah, I love it, because now, this is actually working out so well for Bly, because now Neeb is like, okay, I'm preventing him from blocking my hatchery, or morphing into a hatchery, and he can't block my expand yet. Neeb, don't build a pylon here. This is really not what you want. I love this by Bly. I love how he's setting up that drone. He's like,
it's for spine crawlers. It's just like...
He's like, yeah, I really want to expand. And Neeb is like, yeah, at least you're not expanding in your natural, right? Now Neeb is entering the main base. At this point, he spots the gas.
He has to be concerned. Yeah, no spawning pool. All right. He's got to know. He's got to know by now.
Oh, actually, I'm not 100% sure if he knows. I think that he might think that he's doing a good job so far, and he's obviously thinking this hatch is going to always be a little bit later.
Well, he goes Nexus to Cybercore.
Yeah, I think he's not aware of it yet, Maynard.
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness, Neeb could actually be in trouble. Guys, and once again, the winner of this match, this is the opening match of Group Stage 3. The winner of this match will go up against DNS. Now Neeb is going to see it. What do you think he does? Does he cancel the Nexus?
What do you do, yeah?
I would probably cancel the Nexus, go for a Forge, but I'm very panicky like this. I panic, full-on panic almost immediately. Neeb may let the Nexus finish, but yeah, this is going to be kind of hard.
Okay, well, I mean, at least he's starting a Zealot, which is, you know, the start of a defense, but Bly is very committed here. More drones coming across
batteries,
the map.
I guess he's going to defend with batteries, yeah.
Yeah, well, if he can get some time up to get some of those tier 1.5 units out, those Stalkers, certainly going to help a lot. Queen getting made at this proxy hatchery, that Zealot and these probes got a long road ahead. Bly's keeping these drones at the back end. You can see they do exist to make spine crawlers. That's why he's put them over here. But he doesn't want to show it to Neeb because that's an easier target than this hatchery.
So there are Zerglings on the way already as well. Bly almost has enough gas in the bank to start Zergling speed, so it's probably going to be pure Zergling with speed. Good cancel there on the Spine Crawler. Wait, did he cancel two, or was he only going
just canceled the one at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, be careful with your Stalky. You really don't want to lose that Stalky. You definitely don't want to lose your Zealot too early either, but this Zealot is trapped. This Zealot will go down. Now, there are batteries, but it's just going to be Stalkers for a long time. I would go for some more shield batteries, by the way. I don't know. Yes, there you go. There you go, Neeb.
All right, yeah. This is starting to look like a defense here for Neeb. It's starting to get a little bit safer. The more fuel batteries he can get up, double gateway production is pretty solid. Obviously, a Robo would be amazing right now as well, but shield batteries and having gateway units up is certainly way more important at this point.
I think Bly messed up his build a tiny bit. He mined way too much gas. We can see that Zergling speed is on the way, but he was probably distracted, you know,
yeah,
trying
60
to
gas still in the bank.
Yep,
so he's not mining anymore.
Okay, well, here come these spines. They're going to be pretty far forward. Stalkers, it's very important you don't let your Stalkers get surrounded. This is really good for Neeb, of course. He's getting a lot of free damage over here so far.
Now, transfusions come down that Spine Crawler, but obviously his Queen is fresh. She doesn't have too much energy.
Oh, no.
Neeb pulling back a little bit here. Shield batteries at the front line do go down. Spine Crawlers are in range of these gateways.
He shot at the rocks there. I mean, not a game-ending mistake with one Stalker. He's going to get trapped. The second Stalker gets trapped. And now things get very dicey because he's perhaps in danger of losing one of these gateways as well.
Losing one of these gateways is pretty horrific here for Neeb. He stopped producing off of it, builds a second gateway back here, or a third one to replace that one that's going to go down, or at least he thinks it possibly could here. Yeah, it's going to go down. These Spine Crawlers use Lings too much. Bly being patient with the Lings as well.
You know what I'm very worried about as well, Maynard? That he doesn't have Warp Gate. Perhaps he thought it was never going to finish up. But it basically means that now all that Neeb has is one stock production at a time. He is getting 2 additional gateways in the back. But this is going to get weird because I think eventually Neeb is going to break down this wall and he's going to have a lot of Zerglings. And yes, Stalkers are good with batteries, but if they get surrounded, he's in trouble.
Now they have a little bit of surface area on the Stalker at the front, but 5 Stalkers are shooting. They're out of range of some of these shield batteries though. That one at the front line is getting healed, and that's the most important one for sure. And Bly's doing damage to this pylon here. Neeb is going to start getting things depowered if he loses that second one up here to the north.
You could say that at least it's good here for Neeb that he really didn't lose anything other than that pylon, and a lot of Zerglings did go down, but Zerglings are very cheap. There will be more where that was coming from, and Neeb is definitely not out of the woods just yet, but I must say, pretty damn impressive defense up to this point.
Yeah, so far this is about as solid as you could possibly ask for. Some hurt Spine Crawlers here that Neeb would love to just shoot down. One of these Stalkers starts to work on it here. The Lings are getting some surrounds though. Bit of surface area for those Lings to get in a little bit deeper. Bly is starting to eat through a lot of that shield battery energy as well. Neeb's shield battery energy getting very low here.
Couldn't he go into the main base now with a couple of Zerglings?
He's starting to lose his Zerglings. He's not going to have too many left in a second.
I feel like maybe running into the main there would have been pretty nice, because that would expose the Stalkers as well, right?
Oh, the Stalkers have got a little bit of surface area to get forward and try and take down that Spine Crawler. They nearly do, but not quite. No more transfusion energy, at least at this point, for Bly.
You know what's big, by the way? Neeb still has a probe in the natural of Bly, so he also knows that Bly has not taken his natural. So Neeb knows there is no such thing as overreacting to this, because he knows that Bly is still very, very committed.
They can only also make Zealots at the moment. Lost his Cybercore. Yeah. I mean, that is going to be handy. They are still useful in this situation, but no more Stalkers does make it a little bit harder to micro against these Spine Crawlers. Lings getting surrounds again, but Neeb tucks into his defense, and then those Lings go to the main base, which means these Spine Crawlers are left vulnerable.
And yeah, but that also means there is no shield battery in the main base, there are no units in the main base, and Neeb doesn't really have the sickest economy, so this really hurts Maynard. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of workers going down. It is now only 14 probes on the side of Neeb. At this point, Bly is officially mining more than Neeb.
Which is something we didn't expect in this game. So the Zealot here on the front lines does certainly help a lot against these Lings in straight-up fights. More Zealots getting made from Neeb. He managed to get his Cybercore up again, so Stalkers again on the menu as well.
Look how deep that creep is getting into the natural, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough to keep building structures up the front here with the creep at the moment, right?
Okay, Bly's finally, by the way, he sent 2 links to take care of that probe. That probe was there forever. It saw all the reinforcements come along, but now at this point, Neeb loses his vision on the other side of the map, and I think this becomes a lot harder to play for Neeb because you don't know. Should I be building probes or not?
Gets us around that Stalker there on the front line, but it does still just survive. Bly trying so hard not to overextend and trade as well as possible. Another Spinecrawler getting a little bit low. Neeb really wants to pick it off, but Bly won't let him get it that easily. The Link circling around the backside here, forcing the probes to evacuate that natural. Sentry's up, and it does force field the Links in, so at least they don't get into the main. One tried to, but it got gunned down by the Stalker there in the end.
Oh, this is so nerve-wracking to play, though, for Neeb, because if these Stalkers get surrounded, if they go down, then it's pretty much curtains. He wants to apply pressure, but at the same time, he has to keep the probe safe as well. He is, once again, a little bit ahead economically, but it's only by a couple of probes, and once again, there's not a strong transition, right? There's not a strong follow-up. The Links are going to curse around. One Stalker takes a lot of damage.
Oh, and still survives. Wow, it's a survivor. That Stalker's seen some things.
It's a lot of Zerglings at this point, though, Maynard.
Yeah, and they keep on coming. He's still holding that Z button. The probes once again evacuating this area. Neeb once again might have to force field the rev. There he goes, just in time. Sentry from the high ground there. And once again, he's going for that Spinecrawler, but there are Queens with more transfusion energy here. Neeb surrounded one more time. He loses a Sentry, loses another Sentry there at the front. The Stalker's getting surrounded. Shield battery energy, not really a thing anymore here for Neeb.
Sentry got surrounded as well. One Zealot did really put in a lot of work. Look how deep that Spine is going. Look at the energy, by the way, in the Queens. He could transfuse that Spinecrawler for a little while. Once again, more probes are falling in the main base. There is one Zealot keeping it safe. What a game. A typical Bly game. Wouldn't want it any other way.
Oh man, this is so nerve-wracking. It looks like Bly might be making some pretty sick headway here. Last couple Stalkers going down. There's one still left. This is a nice little SimCity from Neeb though with that Stalker there, with that Zealot body blocking that Stalker, but there's still so many Zerg units.
Yep, one more Stalker a little bit exposed there on the south side, but I feel at this point you can actually start working on shield batteries because there isn't that much DPS here. And I mean, Links are once again streaming into the main base. I think there is still that one Zealot. No, that Zealot went down. It's just probes at this point, and yes, Neeb is still up 5 workers, but Maynard, I really feel like he's in trouble. He is getting Warp Gate, and it's halfway done. I mean, it's actually super close, but I still kind of like it for Bly. I feel like there is potential with these fast Zerglings, and look at the energy on these Queens, okay?
Yeah, lots of transfusions on these Queens here. Gets one of those shield batteries from Neeb, knocking him down to 4 here in that natural. Spinecrawler still alive in the back of all this.
What a game.
What a game. Can't say this isn't entertaining stuff. Oh, this Link's hitting another probe there. Nice pick off.
And there go
shield
all your
surrounded.
batteries, yeah. And now it's going to get very dicey. Yes, there's a couple of Zealots here, but that Spine is almost never going to fall with this much energy on these Queens. There's another Spine in the back, by the way, and Neeb knows that he cannot afford to lose his Nexus, because if he loses his Nexus with all the creep that's here, he's never going to be able to retake it.
Absolutely not. Robo is, I think, maybe hit the main base, never got one?
No, he was thinking about it, but he cancelled it, went for another gateway.
Fair enough. That means no detection, can't get rid of this creep. So he needs to hold right here, and he cannot lose this Nexus. Losing that pylon is devastating. Can't warp in down here either. So I think this is going to go down, Roddy. And that's terrible for Neeb.
Yeah, that's really, really bad. Now he is getting a robotics facility, so maybe eventually you could say you could push back the creep. Now, I'm not sure if Bly can ever really run into the main. You know, Bly, I know it's been 10 minutes, but I think it's time for a hatchery on the other side of the map. And he agrees with us. There we go. Bly works, man. The casual 10-minute, 20-second natural. It's a timing, guys.
It is. That creep tumor is smack bang when Neeb needs that natural Nexus. Didn't even get to see Warp Gate on that bad boy right there.
Well, I mean, I must say, though, Bly did such a good job in the beginning of the game of selling it, right, with the 2 drones. I love the commitment. I love how he hurts his own economy just by selling his strat so much better. It's like, hey, I just want to take your natural again like I did in the previous game or in game 1. And Neeb is like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. I'm blocking it. And then actually, for such a long time, this proxy hatch was hidden. I mean, Neeb did whatever he could. He got all the batteries, and he still has an army. And I've seen weirder things. I mean, don't forget that the main base of Bly is starting to run a little bit dry. So I don't want to say that Neeb is 100% down and out, because he technically has a bigger army. But he's going to have to take care of all these Spines, of these Queens. It's going to be very, very difficult, Maynard.
I was going to say, that's my next question is, Roddy, is this game over?
It's hard. I don't want to say it's 100% over, especially not because this is Neeb against Bly, and I think there's some room for miracles, but I don't know if this is enough firepower in your Protoss army. One Stalker goes down immediately, and I like to think that these Queens should be able to keep these Spines alive, but the link count is actually dwindling very quickly.
Certainly is. Those Zealots put in work. The Immortal is still alive. Queen's going to take it out there in the end. And Immortal put in a bit of damage there for Neeb, but his army is a little flimsy now.
That army, that Immortal was the MVP though, because the Immortal could have really helped. Immortals, of course, do massive damage against Spine Crawlers. These Gateway units, yeah, a little bit less, man. That's a little bit more underwhelming. More sentries coming in, but they don't have the DPS either. That Immortal was super important.
Bly also just made a ton of lings, by the way. This hatchery he just put out there, I think it's just for mining from the main base, from his oversaturation in the main, and it's just a ling production facility.
You know, you could obviously say that maybe Neeb can make some magic happen with a War Prism on the other side of the map, but Neeb is also forced to keep some units at home, because if he puts everything in the Prism or just tries to unload everything on the left side of his main, then he has nothing to keep his probes safe. Neeb is actually mining more because I guess Bly's main base was running out quite a bit quicker because Neeb has been losing a lot of probes in the main.
Oh, I guess so.
Just sentries, maybe? Maybe you just do the sentries? I don't think you want to do everything, though.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. Like, you can't leave your main because maybe leave the sentry so you can force field for a while, but I think Bly sees this ramp empty.
Is Neeb just going to try to attack this, or is he going to run to the other side of the map? Full on base trade? Okay,
loading up the probes. Yeah, okay, all right.
So he's going to try to win the game with his army and his probes on the other side of the map?
Okay. The probes going to get caught by these lings. Bly sees this prison.
So that means -6 probes almost immediately.
Yeah, 8 probes are going to survive for now in that prison.
So many Zerglings, by the way, on the side of Bly. Bly is still making links. How many lings have gone down in this game? This is a one-base game, okay? 182 Zerglings. And he's still got like 40 or 50 of them as well. He's basically made nothing but Zerglings of an entire base almost mined out.
Bly has evacuated drones, by the way. He doesn't have enough for another hatchery, but he does have enough to make extractors. Neeb has enough to make nothing.
Maybe he queued up a building somewhere?
Recall, he's bringing stuff back, okay.
Can he trap something? Can he trap it in the main base? Let's take a look at the main base. Okay.
Oh, the Queen's caught. Queen's caught in here. Not many lings left to keep them alive either.
Okay, that's a play. That is definitely a play. These Queens should be able to go down. Your Zealot's alive there, Neeb, and that's exactly what Neeb does. A couple of drones have gone down to the other side of the map. What did Neeb do? He sent one Rambo Zealot, and this one Rambo Zealot has taken out 6 drones.
If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me.
Okay, this game is sick, Maynard.
This is crazy. The lings getting in the main base, they're going to finally deal with that Zealot, which has nice surface area, by the way, so it's going to trade nicely against these lings until it goes down.
8 against 10 workers.
Oh my god.
And Neeb took out that hatchery, by the way.
Yeah, so Bly's back to 1 base.
Well, is that even 1 base? He's back to... so I'm going to do the math real quick for you guys.
Quick maths.
680 plus 50 is 730 minerals.
Less than 1,000 minerals in total in this main base. 730
minerals left.
Okay. Well, this game got weird. I mean, it started weird. Kind of in the middle it was weird, and I think it might end weird as well. These Stalkers in the main base just trying to pick up Overlords, I guess, or whatever they can. The Prism actually makes things very complicated for Bly here. He can't deal with it.
Especially because most of the Queens went down. There's only a single Queen at this point. Neeb, are you really clawing your way back into this game? I was kind of starting to believe in a Neeb victory here. What a sick play. Even keeping a couple of his probes alive in that War Prism. And Bly losing his natural. Yeah, like he's mining up 2 mineral patches. That's all he's got. And what do you even make of your Bly right now? And how do you have it stop this harass?
Long distance mining from Neeb's natural to his proxy hatchery. This is the world that we live in right now.
Yes, with 2 drones.
He is technically mining.
Yes, he's making more drones.
Yeah, well.
Okay, like the spines. Wait, does Neeb have enough money left in his main to make a Dark Shrine? Yes.
Couldn't Bly just mine?
Oh my god.
Couldn't Bly just mine from the 3rd for Neeb? It's a lot closer, those minerals.
Yes, but maybe there's a Stalker on the high ground, so that would shoot at his drones.
Okay.
Hey, if Bly does not scout the Twilight Console, Neeb could win this with like a Dark Templar, 1 base on 18 minutes or something.
Yeah, Dark Templar actually would end this game.
Well, there could be Spore Crawlers, right? Maybe Bly eventually could ask himself, what could I lose to? I don't know if he ever thinks that Neeb is capable of making DTs of the super wonky economy that he's got. I think it's very important that Neeb stays active here. Because, he's building the Dark Shrine almost immediately. The thing is, if Neeb slows down for a minute, I think you give your opponent a lot of time to think. And then Bly might think, like, what can I lose to? And then the answer, the obvious answer, might be Dark Templars. But if Neeb keeps doing this, he might give Bly the idea that this is how Neeb thinks he's going to win the game, with nothing but War Prism harassment.
He's making Bly think about this War Prism and giving him like horse blinders, making him think only about the one thing and not about the follow-up.
This is so sick.
Queen's is going to go the long walk. She's doing the walk of shame from the main base all the way to the proxy hatchery.
Maynard, that Dark Shrine is halfway done. And if this Dark Shrine finishes up before a single Spore is done, I mean, then maybe Bly could force out a draw. Let's say if he squeezes a Spore somewhere in the corner of a creep and then he runs the Spore to his 5 Spine Crawlers.
All these turns. All the Stalkers coming to the main base because the Queen just walked across the map. Ling's coming home now.
There's going to be a Dark Templar wipe.
And there's no Spores, no detection at all. So this actually probably will win the game for Neeb.
I think what Bly will do is immediately build a Spore Crawler here next to his 5 Spines.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's probably his play. Yeah. That's his only play, right?
Which means that Neeb needs to use these DTs to cut through those spines immediately.
Maybe Neeb should warp in the first Dark Templar on his side of the map, and then the second one in the here where the Stalkers are. 2 Dark Templars have been warped in. Are they both on Neeb's side of the map?
Are.
Yes, they are.
They're going to go for the spines. Straight for the spines here.
God, the
Down they go. And Bly, what does he do? He needs that Spore immediately. He's got to go for the transfusions. A little bit of a slow response here from Bly. There's that Spore Crawler.
Where is it? It's too obvious. No, the Dark Templars are going to find this. The Dark Templars are going to see it. He needs one on the absolute corner of his creep. Obviously, Neeb does not see what we see. Where is he building these other Spores? Okay, one is right next to the Spine Crawlers. I mean, this is absolute madness.
There it is.
Neeb's going to find him.
He's got him. The DT's getting on top of these Spores. Bly desperately needs to kill these Dark Templar. He needs these Spores to finish against the surrounding Spore Crawler to keep it alive as well. Yep. So they will live. At least 2 of them will.
Hey, but what if Neeb just saves his Dark Templars and then moors them into Archons? Isn't that a play?
That's actually quite good because nothing here is very good against Archons.
Nope. I mean, I think Neeb is going to play this very safe. He can obviously recall again, guys. Don't forget that he could recall. And that's exactly what he does. Oh my goodness. Neeb with some 384 IQ plays in this game.
384?
Unbelievable, man.
As a rookie numbers in this bracket.
I cannot believe that Neeb is doing this. I'm so happy I said this game wasn't over. And I'm like, you know, wow.
And now it's Archon time. And Archons are a problem for Bly, to say the least.
And there's still a Prism, right?
Yep.
I mean, Prism and Archons. I mean, this might take a while, but the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys wonder, can Neeb mess this up? Yes, if he loses the Warp Prism. Oh!
Got him!
Well, it gets out.
How did it, what?
Still looked really cool.
How did it have space in there to get out? Blizzard!
So obviously, if Neeb would lose the Prism, that'd be really bad, because then you could say that this could become a draw, but normally these Proto Shields should always win it. But there is Queen Transfused as well.
I think Prism Juggle ends this game, man, with those Archons. Like, this is just not something that Bly's equipped to handle. He has Queens, obviously, he has Spores, but Neeb just needs to avoid the Spore Crawlers with his Prism, and he's golden. Like, eventually he's going to have the units to break through here. Both players are out of mining, basically. Like, they're not mining.
Imagine if somebody would ask you,
gas.
Hey, can you tell me what happened in Neeb vs. Bly Game 3? It's
like, sit down.
Where did
put your feet up.
It's like, yeah, I can. I wrote a novel about it, actually. It's 244 pages, and it reads really well.
Yeah. Well,
Neeb mining gas, by the way, no minerals.
Yeah, I guess he can make a couple centuries.
The thing is, though, can Neeb out DPS the ability of these Queens to keep these buildings alive? And I would say the answer normally is yes. Because Neeb can technically, he drops a couple force fields, gets a couple units, and every unit that you pick off right now is a unit that will never come back. Bly's got nothing. It's Queen energy against Proto Shields, but Proto Shields should win that. Don't lose your Prism! Oh my god, okay.
Oh god.
I almost had a heart attack, because then I think it could very well be a draw.
This is terrible for my heart.
I mean, Neeb's army is so big, though. Can Neeb just run? Maybe Neeb should just... He can hallucinate a whole bunch of stuff, by the way. I mean, he has their Spore Crawlers, but still. Could be a little bit tanky. Maybe Neeb should just unload everything on the left side, instead of going down this silly ramp. Oh, don't lose.
I actually would like him to try and go for a flank. Yeah, try and hit from a couple sides.
I would just actually just hit it everything from the left side. It's a pretty big surface area there. I mean, going down this ramp is a bit tricky and painful. You got to be so careful with the Warp Prism. But Neeb's doing all right. This is all about can my Protoss units out DPS the health energy. Oh, force on the Queens.
He's gone fishing. Hook, line, and sinker. 2 of those Queens gone in the bucket. And these drones are in trouble as well, and that's it. Neeb coming back in an insane game 3. He gets himself a 2-1 victory there.